Hake is one of my favourite fish. It's plentiful, it's sustainable, and it's absolutely delicious and so easy to cook. So it's a round fish. So this is it here. So I've kept the skin on. It's pin boned, and we get our fish in the restaurant from Albatross. They're based in Donegal. So what I love about going out and visiting fishermen, seeing how hard they work, first of all, in all weather conditions. And I always ask them, what's your favourite fish? It's usually hake or haddock. They're the two that most fishermen would say that to me. So we're going to make a lovely kind of butterbean and tomato stew with this, and then just pan fry the fish. That's all I'm going to do. So we're going to start off with a little stew. We're going to use some nice rapeseed oil. So this is the lovely oil to cook with, and I'm going to put some in the pan when I'm going to pan fry the fish, which I'll come back to in a moment. So we're going to put some red onion, and what we're going to do is just literally quarter this, and we're going to slice it. So watch the fingers when you're doing this. I've just the onion peeled, and we're going to slice this, and then we're going to put some garlic into this. So red onion is nice and sweet. We're also going to put some courgettes, and these are some nice Irish courgettes, which I'm going to show you now in a moment. And we'll cube these. So there's lots of interesting flavours and textures, and this little recipe that I'm showing you now can be made ahead. So when you get your lovely fresh hake from your local fishmonger, they'll pin bone it. I always like to cook it with the skin on, because I think the skin is absolutely delicious, and it kind of holds the fish together. So that's one small onion. We're going to literally crush 2 cloves of garlic, so just putting a little bit of pressure, and then I'm just going to literally just rock that, just do that a bit more, and that's going to go on top of our nice onion there. So this is going to go into our saucepan with the oil. So preheat your pan, that's nice and hot now, and then a couple of cloves of garlic. Your garlic gives so much flavour, so it does. So just rock that over and back. Now, so that's that done, and we're just going to pop that just in here, and that's what you want to hear. So we're not looking to colour it, we're just looking just to get the cooking process going. Give it a nice little stir. Now for our courgettes. So these are our lovely courgettes, and this is the butterbean quality mark here. So that's what you're looking for there. Irish seasonal produce. So that's what good food is all about, eating seasonal food. And what we're going to do is just literally cut the courgettes, and we're going to cut them into wee cubes. Watch the fingers. So turn this down here. Just give it a stir there so you can see the onion and you can see the garlic in there. As I say, garlic does give so much beautiful flavour. So cube this. So the proper name for this that we're doing here is a little brunoise. Small little cube of vegetables. So I like using the knife. Just kind of scoop it up. Take your time when you're doing this, and then pop that in there. And then the same for this. Lovely. Now you can put fresh peppers into this, you can put aubergines if you want to, and you can make kind of like a ratatouille style, which is like a Mediterranean vegetable stew. So just combine that all together. Turn up the heat. Now into this we're going to get a nice little bit of a kick. We're going to put in some grated lemon zest, and then I'm going to use the juice of the lemon when we're going to cook our hake. So some lovely lemon zest in there. Now, a little bit of sweetness, so I'm going to put in a tiny little bit of caster sugar, and then we're going to put in some balsamic vinegar. So roughly about 1 teaspoonful goes in there. And then we're going to put a splash of balsamic. This is just a 3-year-old balsamic. You can use a cider vinegar if you want to. It's going to give nice flavour to this. So what I want, because I've cut the vegetables nice and small, I want a little bit of texture, a bit of crunch. So we're going to start to cook our fish. I've just heat my pan. So really important when you are pan frying fish is to bring it to room temperature. I'm leaving the skin on, and what we're going to do is we're going to place it onto the pan. We're going to season it, and then we're going to put a little bit of butter, and a great herb when you're cooking hake or haddock or whiting or any of those fish is lovely fresh thyme. I'll show you that in a moment. So let's just check on our fish. Just get your kitchen paper and just dab that it's nice and dry. And then what we're going to do is make sure the pan is nice and hot. So we'll season, not the skin side, but the other side. So you just want to hear that sizzle, that when it goes onto the pan, that it begins to start cooking straight away. Always when you're handling raw fish, wash your hands. So as I say, your fishmonger will pin bone this. I've asked for the skin to be kept on, and what we'll do then is put a little bit of butter. I'm going to put a little bit of sea salt just here, and then a little bit of thyme and lemon, and you'll be surprised how quick it cooks. It really does cook very, very quick. So remember, it's a round fish. It's plentiful, it's sustainable, it's a really delicious fish. Great one for children. So back on to our little stew. So if you see here, this is the balsamic vinegar. And then what we have here is a small amount of garlic, a couple of cloves of garlic and red onion. So these are some Italian tomatoes that I'm using. So these are the San Marzano tomatoes. And we're just going to literally just loosen this up here. So those tomatoes are nice and sweet too, which is really, really important. Now, let's just shake. Good hot pan, as I say. And I'm using a good non-stick pan for this. So I'm going to get my fresh thyme, because I want to put that in and get lots of lovely flavour from this. So it's a really lovely herb to use when you're cooking fish. So just a couple of little sprigs in there. Kind of, if you just break them like that, and you'll hear them crackling, hear that. Don't be worried about that. Just don't be standing over looking at it. It will definitely crack. Now we're going to put in a little bit of butter now. You know me and the butter. And I'm using the rapeseed oil. I might put a little bit more rapeseed oil into this. So what the rapeseed oil will do, it will stop the butter from burning. That's really important. Now if you find that it's cooking a little bit too fast, it's going to move it to a lower ring here. Just let that cook nicely there. And you can see it change, and I'll show it to you as we're doing it, just up the side of the fish. Don't know if you can see that there, Mel. It just is beginning to change there. A nice little bit of thyme there. So hake, as I say, it's a really lovely fish. So this is our little stew. So our tomatoes. Now to give it a little bit of texture, I'm going to use some cherry tomatoes. So it's kind of like a double helping. You could use lime and you could use peppers. So you can mix it up. These are only kind of little tips and recipes that you can enjoy. This will keep really, really well. And this stew will work well with lots of different fish. Particularly with the hake, it does work really, really well. Now remember that I just put the lemon zest in here, and I put the sugar for sweetness, a tiny little bit, and that lovely balsamic vinegar. So they're the lovely cherry tomatoes. They're going to go in there. Like, this could not be easier, and this will keep for about 5 or 6 days in your fridge. People love things that they can make ahead. Right, we're going to have a little look at the fish. And as you can see that it's kind of changing colour, you can see that there. Might be a little bit easier to see. So I've moved it onto a lower ring. So I forgot to say that the oil will stop the butter from burning. The butter gives the most beautiful flavour, so does the rapeseed oil, and this is from Wicklow. So we're using lots of Irish produce, from the fish to our oil to our lovely butter to the lovely courgettes, and actually the little cherry tomatoes are grown in Ireland too. So if you look at the texture here, it's not too wet and it's not too dry. That's really important. If it dries out a little bit, just put a splash of stock into it. You don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to flip over my fish. Just use my fish slice. Turn it over. And I love when you get that lovely colour. See that there? That gives so much flavour, and that's what you'll get from that lovely butter. Now I want to show you what basting means. So it means just holding the pan like this. Just very gently just spooning that on. Okay, so you're getting all that lovely flavour. Now it's still not cooked, and I'm going to show you how to test when your fish is cooked. And then we'll finish it at the very end with some lemon. I love the way the little thyme sprigs will give so much flavour. You could use rosemary, probably a little bit strong to be honest with you. I'm going to put a little bit of fresh basil into this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some spinach. So you think you have a lot of spinach in here, but that's going to wilt down. So this is a great little recipe for your kids because you're getting lots of goodness in here. We're going to put in our butter beans. So these are already cooked, just a can. I've just rinsed them. You can use cannellini beans, you can use whatever kind of beans you like. I just rinsed them through a sieve. And again, I'm going to stir this down here and throw my eye every so often over that lovely piece of fish. So definitely in the restaurant we've seen a huge increase in fish sales, and more people are eating fish. And whenever we have hake on, like, we find it very versatile. You can steam it, pan fry it, bake it off in the oven. You can poach it. So it's a really versatile and delicious fish, and it's not a strong fish. A little tip when you're keeping any kind of fresh herbs or salad leaves, just a little bit of tissue paper over that. So I'm going to get a couple of little sprigs of fresh basil. Love fresh basil. One of my favourite herbs, and actually one of the most difficult ones to grow. So you roll it up like this, and then we're just going to pop this in, season it up, and that's our little stew done. It's as easy as that. And it's a great little recipe because it keeps. People love things that they can make ahead. So all you have to do is go and get your nice fresh fish, And then just pan fry it or steam it, whatever you want. Going to put a little bit of salt in here. And then we're going to put our lemon, the lemon juice. So we put the zest in here, and then we're going to put the lemon juice just over the fish here. And this gives so much lovely freshness and flavour to it. So I know by looking at this that this is cooked. So you press into the centre, okay? And I don't want to burst the skin, but that feels kind of like that. It's just cooked. It's not too overly cooked, which is really, really important because fish can overcook and dry out. Our stew is more or less ready. So just stir that through, and you think you have a lot of spinach, but it just cooks through. So I'll switch the pan off, and that will finish off cooking. And I want to keep that lovely texture from the cherry tomatoes, if you can see this. So you see the cherry tomatoes there. That's lovely, Melda. And the courgettes. You're getting lots of lovely goodness in this. So we're ready to serve up. Like you can see in real time how quick and easy this recipe is. Fish is just literally resting. We're going to get now, just use this spoon here. So our lovely little kind of tomato and spinach and courgette stew. So just place that on the centre of the plate. It's all gone quiet. So you have lots of texture. Do you need potatoes with this? You know, it's totally up to you. I think you have a lot of, you know, goodness there. You don't need. I'm going to finish it with a little bit of pesto. This is just optional, just around the plate. I love pesto, and this is made with fresh basil, garlic, extra virgin olive oil, usually some toasted pine nuts, and lots of basil, of course. And this is our fish. This is the star of the show. Look at that. Imelda's licking her lips. Bring over the fish, or the pan that you cooked the fish, and then just literally use all that lovely juices. Don't waste that. There's so much flavour there. Now, that is a very easy and delicious recipe using one of my favourite fish. That's our lovely fillet of hake, our beautiful Irish hake, just literally pan fried in some rapeseed oil, a little bit of thyme, finished off with lemon juice and lots of Irish butter, and that lovely butterbean and tomato stew. So I hope you try this lovely, delicious fish. It's sustainable, plentiful, and full of flavour. So happy cooking and happy eating.